Hi, my name is Andrea. Thanks for watching the Air of Authority. In this video, we share with you some really useful tips on how to keep your heat running smoothly, even throughout really heavy winter snowstorms. So, hey, Dad.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Is there any advice that you would give a homeowner about HVAC stuff to look out for when it comes to your home when there is a big snowstorm?
First of all, is when we're anticipating snow accumulation, we always want to be mindful of if we have a high efficiency furnace, many times they are vented out the side of the house. Depending on what kind of clearance you have over ground, when we get drifting or wind currents carrying snow to new places, we always want to be aware of that. I know on mine, we've even showed it before on how I've had snow accumulate on the PVC pipe on the outside. Here's another thing to kind of watch. Keep those cleared off. That's actually drawing air in the backside here. You see how it could draw in snow, especially if it's closer to the ground. This is plenty of clearance here, but something to watch for. For some furnaces, 90% furnaces, the exhaust and air intake are just exposed PVC pipes, 2 to 3 inch diameter. Mine is at what we call a concentric, which is kind of a funnel shape kind of looks like a PVC cone sticking out of the sidewall. But others have kind of a plastic cover where it's more of what I would call a grill on it. But what you're not aware of is all of them are set off of the wall and they draw air in the back side. And so you want to be mindful of that. You'll see when the furnace is running, which side is the exhaust. It's actually blowing the exhaust out.
You're talking like behind that little cone thing.
Right.
Okay.
And you can see how weird things happen, when the winds are really blowing and the snow is really piling up. And if it's a wet snow that tends to, make snowballs, check your venting on your 90% efficient furnaces outside.
Now,
and some are even up on the roof. We've even seen that, where they discharge straight up out of the roof. But if they're close to a valley or something in the roof, not that we're going to go up there, or I'm not asking you to go up there, but you just want to be mindful, to anticipate, a possible problem or something like that. So
my question is that if a furnace exhausts or vents to the outside of the house and it's easy to access, where about might somebody find that on their house? Is it typically in the same area?
Typically, it's kind of adjacent to the furnace. So
okay.
The PVC pipes are pretty much a straight shot to a furnace, and we're kind of limited how far we can run those PVC pipes. So typically, it's pretty much a straight shot. Now we have actually run them through garages before, so sometimes they can kind of take on a location that maybe is a little unexpected, but typically, like mine, it's the closest outside wall to the furnace and it's a straight shot. And see, some in a retrofit situation, sometimes they're lower than that. And that's when you really want to be mindful of that. They get down within 12 inches of the ground, and that's very possible you could have snow either accumulate that deep or get blown that deep.
Okay, so make sure that your furnace is venting clearly on the outside of your house and snow and ice and everything isn't blocking that. Okay, what's next?
Well, what's next is, of course, we've talked about the heat pump before. Snow accumulation, ice accumulation on primarily the top of the unit is something you really want to be mindful of. Also is when it's actually snowing and there's a lot of moisture in the air, we'll collect a lot more frost and ice on the outside of the heat pump itself, which is normal. You just want to make sure it defrosts itself off. So you may hear defrost cycles more often than what you normally do, or that it might defrost a little longer than what it normally does because of all the moisture that's in the air. Perfect conditions to collect snow on the outside unit when there's already a bunch of snow blowing around in the air.
If there is a big snow and ice storm, should somebody continue to use their heat pump or just switch over to emergency heat?
Well, you can, but if you're getting to a place where you think there is ice out on the unit, or you're hearing it go through defrost, rather long defrost or something like that, and the conditions are really unusual. When the storm hits for a day or two, it's not your normal conditions. Doesn't hurt a thing to go ahead and put it in the emergency heat mode setting, which will
turn off the unit outside. It turns off the heat pump and turns on your supplemental heat, whatever that may be. For most people, it's probably your strip heat, your electric heat. You typically have an electric furnace, but not always. I have a natural gas furnace as my supplemental heat. So it just depends on your area and the availability of certain utilities. But feel free to, for a couple of days, put it on emergency heat and just use your supplemental heat when conditions are really outside the norm outside.
Okay.
And thirdly, it's also just a reminder, but it's a very real one, and that is you want to have your outdoor hydrants, your water hydrants, free of any hose attached to them. And so you might say, well, wait a minute, we talked about that in late fall. That's not going to happen. Well, no, actually, my neighbor had his garden hose out yesterday. It was kind of a milder day, and both he and I have watered our landscape plantings and stuff like that. If you've had the garden hose out or hosed out the garage or something like that, please make sure you disconnect the hose from the hydrant outside. Let the water drain out of it. That's a big one. That's a big one.
After we stopped recording, we realized that we forgot to mention one very important tip, which is if you are expecting that your heat is going to be running nonstop during, the next few days, to just go ahead and swap out that air filter. If it's dirty, it's going to make your HVAC system just run a lot harder than it needs to. So by giving it a nice, fresh, clean filter, it's going to be able to work at its maximum capacity. Also, a dirty filter can cause your HVAC system to just completely malfunction. So it's always a good idea to make sure that you have a clean filter in there. I hope that this was helpful information for you. If it was, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, I would sure appreciate it. And I also hope that you subscribe because we have more money saving tips every week. Stay warm, and I will see you in the next video.